One rash decision can shatter years of trust in just a heartbeat. Once upon a time, in a vast and ancient empire ruled by golden spires and echoing bells, there lived a young ruler named King Alaric. He was not just any king. He was the youngest in his dynasty, crowned at the tender age of 23 after his father's sudden passing. Though brave, intelligent, and eager to lead, Alaric carried a dangerous weakness: his temper. From childhood, Alaric had been guided by an old mentor named Seraphon, a man of deep wisdom and calm demeanor. Seraphon was not only his teacher but also his closest companion, teaching him the art of leadership, patience in crisis, and the hidden strength of silence. The young king often recalled Seraphon's gentle words: "A storm inside your heart is fiercer than the storm outside your walls." For several years, Alaric ruled well, with Seraphon serving as his chief advisor. Peace reigned, trade flourished, and the people adored their young king. But fate has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. One fateful summer, a drought swept across the empire. The once flowing rivers dried into cracked mud, and harvests withered under the relentless sun. Famine loomed, and the people's cries grew louder each passing day. In the middle of this crisis, a mistake was made. Seraphon, who oversaw the empire's grain storage, miscalculated the reserves. He believed the granaries could sustain the people until the next harvest, but the food ran out months earlier than predicted. Hungry families rioted in the streets. Desperation spread like wildfire. When the news reached King Alaric, he was furious. His heart pounded, his face flushed, and in a fit of rage he declared before the entire court, "Seraphon has betrayed my trust. From this day forward, he is banished from my sight and from this empire. Never return." The court fell silent. Seraphon bowed deeply, sorrow clouding his eyes, but he did not protest. Quietly, he left the palace he had served his entire life and wandered toward the distant mountains. At first, Alaric felt powerful, even relieved, believing he had acted decisively. But as days turned to weeks, his anger cooled, leaving behind only regret. Without Seraphon, the king found himself stumbling. Advisors bickered among themselves, offering half-baked plans. The young ruler longed for the steady voice of his old mentor, the one who had always calmed the storm in his heart. Meanwhile, Seraphon settled in a remote mountain village. Despite his grief, he embraced the humble life of a healer and farmer. His gentle nature quickly won the villagers' love. He taught them how to store water in clay cisterns, how to share food fairly, and how to resolve disputes without violence. They began to see him not as an exile but as a sage. Back in the capital, Alaric's struggles grew heavier. One evening, as he walked alone through the palace gardens, he recalled something Seraphon had once said: "If you cannot find wisdom in yourself, seek it in the hands of those you lead." A sudden idea struck him. The next morning, Alaric sent an unusual decree across the empire. To every village elder he dispatched a sealed clay jar along with a letter. "Fill this jar with wisdom and return it within 40 days. If you fail, send back the jar filled with gold instead." Confusion spread across the empire. How could one place wisdom in a jar? Elders argued, scribes puzzled, merchants fretted. Many prepared to surrender their riches, unable to meet such a bizarre command. In the mountain village, the elder brought the king's letter straight to Seraphon. "What shall we do?" the villagers cried. "We have no gold, and wisdom cannot be bottled." Seraphon studied the jar silently, his wrinkled hands tracing its smooth surface. After a long pause, he smiled. "Wisdom cannot be forced into clay," he said softly, "but perhaps it can grow." He carried the jar to his little farm, where vines of beans and pumpkins climbed over wooden stakes. Selecting a young bean sprout, he carefully guided it into the mouth of the jar, allowing it to root in the soil below. Day after day, he watered it, and the villagers watched in wonder as the sprout stretched, coiled, and bloomed within the narrow glass walls. By the 40th day, the jar was alive with green tendrils and blossoms, bursting with life that could not be removed without breaking the vessel itself. When the jar reached Alaric's court, the young king gasped. The sight of living wisdom, growing silently and patiently within the jar, struck him to his core. He whispered to himself, "This is Seraphon's hand. No one else could have done this." A rush of shame overcame him. He remembered the day he had cast his mentor away in anger. He remembered the silence in Seraphon's eyes as he departed. That night, Alaric could not sleep. At dawn, he mounted his horse and set out personally, determined to find the man he had wronged. The journey was long, winding through valleys, forests, and rivers. At last, he arrived in the mountain village where he found Seraphon teaching children beneath a tree. The villagers were gathered around, laughing and listening. The moment Alaric saw him, he dismounted, walked forward, and fell to his knees. "Forgive me," the king pleaded, tears filling his eyes. "I cast you away in anger, but I see now my judgment was clouded. Without you, I am half a king." Seraphon lifted him gently to his feet. His voice, calm as always, carried no bitterness. "A king is not measured by the mistakes he makes, but by how he rises after them. Your anger taught you pain, and your regret has taught you humility. Both are lessons worth keeping." Alaric embraced his mentor, vowing never again to let anger rule his heart. With Seraphon at his side once more, the young king returned to his palace, wiser, calmer, and stronger. The empire flourished again, guided by the union of youthful passion and seasoned wisdom. And so, dear listener, remember this. Decisions made in anger may feel powerful in the moment, but they often plant seeds of regret. A calm heart sees clearly where a stormy mind cannot. True wisdom is patient, like a vine that grows slowly yet fills every empty space with life. Never let fury guide your choices. Breathe, wait, and allow calm to light your path.